Dan Plowman and Pat. If everybody else can mute your microphone, that'll be great. Welcome everybody to UROC 365 webinar series to grow your business. Today we have Dan Plowman, who's going to be talking to us about the real estate market in this present crisis of 2020. And the interview is, we are thankful for Mr. Pat Javdan and the broker of record, and Alex Ahanchin, general manager of United Realty, for being the sponsor and supporting this channel for this live interview. I want to talk to you a little bit about Dan Plowman. Dan Plowman has been in the real estate market business for the last 25 years, and he has been in the market for the last 25 years, and he has consistently been ranked as the top Canada's real estate producer. Dan has sold over $1 million worth of real estate year after year. And what baffles me, I don't know, Dan, how you can do this, but Dan sells one home every day consistently for the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. Dan has a passion for marketing, sales, and helping others to achieve a high level of success that they never thought is possible. And Dan, to date, has developed one of the highest ranked teams in the Canadian real estate market. So that's a little bit of an introduction about Dan Plowman. Just a little bit of a housekeeping again. If anybody has questions, please go to the United Realty of Canada website, uroc365.com. And then if you have questions related to real estate or pre-construction or realtors in general, you know, we have the buttons there, the black, red, and blue buttons. So you can go to the website after the webinar is done and you can post your questions over there. And if we have more time, you know, then we will even allow people to ask your questions during the interview. So without further ado, I'm going to activate the webinar and I'm going to give the show to Pat. So Pat, you can start the interview right now.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you, Dan, for accepting our invitation. And thank you, everybody who joining us today. I hope everybody is keeping up with this crazy situation. Now, because we have only 30 minutes, we're gonna get right to it. So the first question is for Dan is, Dan, what is your view of the state of real estate market during this crisis? I mean, general view, how do you see it? I can ask 3 questions in one question. The next question is how this crisis has affected the real estate market, and do you think this is gonna last? So this is kind of 3 questions in total. Can you please explain how that things affected this real estate market and how do you see it?
Yeah, for sure. I'll do my best. I do believe adaption's key right now. This is I call it the new way in doing business right now. The new usual or the usual. I coined that last week. Some people laughed, and by no means is a laughing matter. We have health issues right now. This is beyond a market a problem or issue. And I hear you say I was in the business 25 years. That must be an old profile you read of me somewhere online. Because I'm 30 years now. And I say that and I reference going back 30 years because when I started in the business November of 1989, it was tragic. The market was tragic. There were about 3,000 real estate agents on the Durham region real estate board, just east of Toronto, where we are. And within 24 short months, it had cut in half. Half the real estate agents have left the business. And I say that because by January of 1990, interest rates had gone and climbed to 16, 18%. And anybody who's been in business 30 years remembers how devastating that was to our industry. Homeowners were literally handing their keys back to the bank. It was called a quit claim, when you could walk away from your home and it didn't even have an effect on your credit bureau back then. So, people were upside down. They had $100,000 or $200,000 mortgages, but their homes were worth $50,000, $75,000 less than what the mortgage was on the home. So it was devastating. You can imagine those times. And there were real estate agents leaving the industry because their opinion was, they weren't going to make money in this business for the next 3 to 5 years. That's what they believed. I started in that market. Maybe that was the best thing for me. But I do know this. We have a supply and demand issue, shortage issue of housing that's required for the amount of people that we have. definitely across most parts that I've seen anyway of Canada, definitely the bigger cities, the bigger city hubs, Toronto, GTA surrounding area. We've seen this, we've noticed this, we've watched this. I believe, and I don't have a crystal ball, so please understand this. When you ask what's my opinion, this is what I believe. I've seen 2 or 3 markets where we've had literal devastation, especially in Durham region. I've seen 2. I've witnessed 2 complete shutdowns of General Motors back when we were dependent on that plant here years and years ago. Headlines, in the newspapers here, and if you called somebody who wanted to talk real estate, they were frozen. They just froze. What I'm seeing different today, and again, by no means am I discounting or discrediting the health issues that are going on, and I hope by no means by what I'm saying do I sound insensitive to that, because that's not my intention. But we're talking about, as an essential service, what's our role? How is our business going to come through this? What should we be doing now? I think those are the kind of questions that you're asking me. I believe real estate, from what I'm seeing in our numbers, we're still active. Are we as busy? No, we've got the office closed. We're doing a lot of stuff, everything remotely now as much as we can. From stagings to even getting somebody's home ready, or even a listing presentation. We can do everything with FaceTime, and there's no greater time right now to leverage technology, and that's what we should be doing. I mean, even feature sheets, we don't print paper anymore. That's a PDF that's being shot to anybody that's showing our listings. Once they approve, or once they say yes to the showing, or they get the confirmation sent to them, we send a PDF with them. Everything we're doing remote. Staging as well, they're doing remote consultations. I think everybody's probably adapted to that now. If you must show a home, again, we're essential service, we ask and request that all interior doors are left open. Just smart, prudent things. People that don't have to list their homes, but they may want to list their home right now, we're encouraging them to maybe do a 6-week coming soon with a 6-month listing thereafter, commencing thereafter. This is just prudent. If people don't have to move, we should be encouraging people to just work. It's okay, we don't need to get together right now. But again, essential service and how individuals in our industry are defining that, I think that's up to you. I think people still need to buy and sell, and there's some people who still want to buy and sell, and we need to direct those differences. Having said all of that, how do I think we're going to come through this? I believe without question, and this is what I'm teaching and training with the coaching company, Dan Plowman Coaching, and this is what I'm helping not only my real estate team and other people that I've spoke to right across North America. I believe right now, if you can do certain things, and I'm going to explain a couple of those in just a minute here. If you can do certain things as a business owner, as a real estate person right now, real estate salesperson right now, if you can do certain things right now, you will come out of this extremely well. You will hit the ground running and be busy, when other real estate salespeople who aren't going to do the things I'm going to mention to you in just a minute, if you just freeze, and then, if we come through this, say in 2 months or 3 months, whatever it is, and then you decide to start to do some business, then you will lose another 2 or 3 months. Our business is the kind of business that takes usually 60 to 90 days, and it's very reactive based on what we did 60 or 90 days prior. In other words, we plant seeds, we see the sprouts or the results of what we planted 90 days later. And I believe we're still busy because 60 and 90 days ago, we had started to get some momentum. I don't think that we will see and feel as much impact as an industry as to what's going on right now for probably another 30 or 60 days, because we've already been in this for a solid 30 days. That's my opinion. Now, having said all of that, what can you do right now as a business salesperson? What can you do right now that's A, prudent, and B, smart for your business? There is no greater opportunity right now as salespeople, because we're usually on that hamster wheel busy right now, especially this month. It's usually the busiest month. I believe our spring market, because of the shortage of housing and supply and demand issue, is going to be pushed. And I hope we are through this by June, July. I hope we are. But I believe you're going to see a flurry. I think you'll see I think you'll see markets change. I think you'll see governments will try to ease people with massive capital injections, which they're already doing and starting to do. I think that will play out with regards to a tax increase for everybody, a small piece for the next 5 or 10 years. This will work its way through. It will. We're not going anywhere. I believe there's already signs of healing in China. There's already signs of this coming through this. As to how bad it's going to be in every area, again, I'm not trying to be insensitive to the severity of it. But I do believe as business owners, every day we need to force ourselves more than ever. And I believe we're entrepreneurs. We are the most, in my opinion, positive mindset people. We are strong individuals. We don't have someone pushing us to punch a time clock every day. Real estate salespeople, in my opinion, they're either one way or the other. They're freezing right now and doing nothing. And they have a reason, an excuse for it, call it victim mode, call it what you want, or they're standing up and saying, what should I do? Tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. And my opinion and my belief is that you should be now more than ever connecting with people. Here's the thing, if you've got a client base and it's not organized, get it organized. I have, and I believe strongly in Real Estate Flow. It's the best contact relationship management system for realtors by far. I've offered through Dan Plowman Coaching that free for people right now during this CRM. You want a free demo for Real Estate Flow? Get on to Dan Plowman Coaching and we'll set you up with a free demo. I want people to get organized right now. Get your client base organized. And I don't care if it's a spreadsheet. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sell anything here. But get yourself organized and then call people. My goal for my team members is to connect with at least 5 people a day. And when I say connect, I don't mean call them and hide behind the phone. I mean do a FaceTime call. Meet people right now. People want to see other people than they've been seeing for the last 4 weeks. That's their families. Not that everybody's sick of their family, please don't get me wrong, but it's nice to connect with other people, just like we're doing right now. I encourage that very strongly right now. I don't encourage to push sales right now. I'm encouraging people to push for relationships. Talk to people. Ask people certain questions. Use a certain language. This is some of the language I believe works extremely well right now for everyone. What are your real estate thoughts and goals as we come through this? What are your plans as we come? Do you have a point in the conversation that I'm leading here? It should imply something as we get through this, as this passes. That's the kind of language. You'll get people talking and then listen. 1 mouth, 2 ears. Listen to them. Let them talk to you. People want to talk to you. People want to vent. And if you can impress that relationship with people right now and just connect with 5 people on your client base every day, and I mean see them, you will come out of this, I'm telling you, with people that will remember you like they never have, because people remember how you made them feel. They don't remember what you say usually. And I'm encouraging that strongly right now with everyone. I know I said a lot there. I'm not sure if I answered all your questions, but I'll stop for a minute.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me, right?
Yes, Pat, yeah.
Yeah, Dan, many people are worried, concerned. I watch, many podcasts. Some of them are extremely positive. Some of them are not extremely positive, right? Because everybody has a question. I listened to a podcast today from Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And he invited Harry Dent. Harry Dent wrote a book called The Great Depression Ahead. So he brought this guy and he asked about the situation, if this is a recession, we're gonna go to recession or depression. And he said, yes, I don't believe in that at this moment. I don't believe in that at this moment. I wanna ask you, how do you feel? I mean, this is gonna last. I know you don't have crystal ball, but this is gonna be longer than we think, or how do you think it is? It gonna end up with a recession or not? What do you think?
Well, I mean, again, let me just rub my crystal ball. So I will answer you the best I can from my experience, having gone through some extreme market shifts and some very devastating financial times. There are some interesting key factors today that were not applicable to some of the other financial crises we've been through. And I mentioned the early one, 1989, 1990, interest rates 16, 18%, people's homes are upside down, power sales were in abundance. I believe that if people's jobs or companies don't survive this, we're going to have an unemployment rate that could be high. I do believe that's a possibility. When unemployment rises, we definitely have some issues, without question. There are many factors that can and will affect recession. I mean, if you look at deficits that are upon the province of Ontario, Canada as a country, or the United States, technically, we've been in a recession for the last 10 years. If you were to look at balance sheets, I'm just saying as a business owner, I mean, let's be honest. But we're talking about something that is unknown territory here for this world, this planet. And by that, I mean, we have a health crisis and a lockdown right now. And what I'm seeing and feeling is a lot of unknown. And when you have a lot of unknown and you have a lot of negative press, because I don't know of any news station that has ever existed that just does positive news. And I think they don't exist because nobody would watch it. But I will say this, they have the microphone right now. They have everyone's attention, every news station. But if you change channels, it's the same news on every channel. I think everybody would agree with me. And my point is, and Dan Sullivan said this in a webinar he did recently. He said, and he said, no disrespect to what's going on, but people will get bored with this continual news. If this became the norm or the usual, we will move through this. I mean, the difference now is this is a health issue that can affect us in our homes and our kids and our families and our friends. I mean, there's no headlines that 18,000 children died of starvation yesterday. That's happened every day, year upon year. Why is that? Because it's the norm. And I'm not by any means discounting, please don't get me wrong, what's going on in the devastation right now. I do believe it's going to pass though. The question is, how are we going to come through this as finance, as a business, as real estate? Well, people still need homes, whether they're renting or owning. Home ownership still remained through any other financial crisis I've seen high on people's list, even when interest rates were 16%. I took a mortgage at 17% once, and I still wanted to own a home. I do believe home ownership, regardless of what happens with markets and prices, if there's adjustments that happen because of this, I do know that shelter is something that we long for and need in our lives. So can I predict a recession? No. Can anyone? No. I would think that most people, when watching stock markets, world markets, what's happening right now, would say we've got a problem and it might get worse. Of course, that's what's happening every day. But you watch what's happening in China right now, there's some positive news coming from there. And I find it interesting. It's turning around quite quickly there, but you don't see a lot of that news. Again, people don't want to see good news, they want to see bad news. I encourage a lot of people that I talk to as well to minimize the amount of news that you allow to enter your psyche right now. You try to stay in a positive state, try to listen to people, try to build those relationships. I can't predict what the future is going to do, but I can predict that housing is still going to be a #1 demand and required essential need and service by everyone, and something that people enjoy and want to have. So we're in a great industry. I believe we're in the best business in the world, if I could just talk about the business right now. I believe if you can adapt right now to the new usual, if you can adapt and do the right things, and I've already mentioned a few things, I've got a lot of stuff we're doing differently, but if you can adapt right now as a business owner and do that, and build your relationships with your clients right now, that is key. The rest that we can't control. We can't control what's going to happen day to day. I believe that if we get caught up in the mental negativity of the constant push that's happening right now in the world, the message that's being pushed at us that the sky is falling. And again, I don't mean to discredit the severity of what's going on. I'm not doing that. I'm saying that will affect you in a negative way. And if your mind goes down a negative path, how can you deal with what's required, or how can you function if you decide to freeze and be negative? Just be careful is what I'm saying, Pat. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. You know, not so many agents or realtors, they have a strong team as you have, and many agents are new, and many agents, they don't have a strong database to work with. So many agents are confused how to promote themselves, how to advertise on social media, and how to prospect in these days, especially in these days. Now, number one, what is your recommendation for those kind of realtors, number one? And is it a good idea to have a special offer for people who wants to sell their house or who wants to buy a property right now?
Yeah, it's a good point, Pat. I think that right now I wouldn't be promoting myself. I know for an individual agent, and it wasn't, I mean, 30 years I started the business and I started with 0 deals. I started, my first deal was, 6 weeks after I started, or 8 weeks after. I started from 0 as well. And I do know, yes, now that I have more traction and more of a client base, we have the opportunity to pick up the phone and talk to people, maybe more in abundance than somebody who just started. Let me address that first. Listen, everybody knows people. And I think the biggest mistake anybody can make in this business, because we're in the people relationship business, is to hide behind your phone. Ask for the FaceTime call with people when you're talking to them. I would encourage you, and I think most people have groups that they associate with, whether it's, I don't know, community groups or churches. You've got friends down the street and family. Surely, if you haven't got a list of people that you know, maybe now's the time to be making that and thinking about that, because we all have center of influence. Here's something I would encourage. If you call some of your family or friends and maybe ask to talk to some of their friends and just let them know, I'm not selling anything right now. I'm just talking to people, and give them something of value. We have a 28-day system that it's a daily plan. It's just 3 or 4 sheets of paper, a PDF format that we're shooting people. And my inside sales agents and my partners as well that are licensed on the team, when they're talking to people, they're offering that to people. It's just something we're shooting the homeowners that allows them, to improve their home, whether they're moving or not. There's stuff in there that people can be doing. I think homeowners are looking for stuff to do, and it's a really valuable list, 28-day program that you can shoot people. It gives you something to give away for free. And if you send a message to Dan Plowman Coaching with your information, we will shoot that to you for free. That'll help you guys, I'm sure. What was the other question you asked, Pat?
I said, is it okay for those realtors that have a special offer for people? Let's say, I'm going to list your house. I'm not going to charge you 2.5% for listing part. I'm going to charge you 1%. Is it a good idea to give them a special offer to support people these days?
Well, I mean, I believe commission's only an issue in the absence of value. Are we still doing all the things we do behind the scenes to attract the amount of people that we need, interest, and spending the money that we are on my team? Yes. I believe I might end up spending more in order to attract more people, to keep momentum on my listings, to keep the prices as high as we can for people. I'm not going down the path of that. I would rather invest more money right now in the consumer to ensure their home gets the marketing than just go down the path of commission cutting. From my experience, and I deal with a lot of people across North America, most people that go down the path of, look, I'll do this listing for 2%, 1%. I'll do this I've got buses that drive by my office. On the back of the bus, it's got these 2 guys that'll list your home for $999. I know another agent here in my town he'll come in and paint your house and do it for 1%. And I don't know how he's doing it. I'm thinking I should list my house just to get the paint job, but I don't want him in my house right now because of what's going on. And no pun intended. I would not go down the path of taking people's money that they're not even paying you if you don't sell their home. There is no commission if you don't sell the home. So why would you give money back that you should be investing, in my opinion, probably more aggressively now than ever to ensure that home gets the exposure it needs? I believe there's a better path to offer people things of value. Let me explain. The best value you can give someone right now, whether they're listing their home or not, is to have a very strong value proposition and all the things that you're going to do and make it very clear. I find that when real estate agents get clear on what those things are, and they actually do them and spend the money, their confidence goes up. And when your confidence goes up, commission usually comes right off the table. That's my opinion. Area where there are commission cutters, it's part of our industry, and that's okay. It's fine. I've chosen not to go down that path. I've chosen to put money back in. We're 2.85% higher than the board average for the consumers last year in sales. That's a lot of money. So when people are saying to me, and I'm giving them options from 5%, 6%, or 3.5%, I offer an exclusive option, which is a terrible option for them because they don't get a lot done. And I actually make a lot of 3.5 points. It's exclusive. The biggest problem we usually have once we present all of the things of value that we do for our coaching clients and for Dan Plowman Team Realty is people say, well, I really want that 6% because I can see how that's going to net me the most money, but can you do it for 5? Look, 65% of our listings last year were taken at 6% when the average commission in our industry in the Durham region is extremely low because there are commission cutting companies. You're asking me a question and I'm going to answer you with give the client more value right now. I don't believe just, you know, dropping your pants, so to speak, out of the gate and saying, I could do it for $900. Where does that end? $9.99 and I'll paint your house. Where does that end? If you're going to go to 2%, 1%, now you're all competing against each other doing that. And I know we can't have that conversation legally and we're not going to, but I do say this, you're better to increase your value, increase your industry standards, increase your service. The clients need it right now. They deserve getting as much money as possible now and moving forward. That's our obligation. That's my belief.
Thank you so much. My next question, let's say, as I said, people are concerned, confused, worried. Do you suggest that people list their house right now, or should they, if buyers they want to buy, is it a good time to buy or is it a good time to list? What do you think about that?
Well, let me pull my crystal ball out. I did pull some stats, which is kind of cool. And it was really interesting when I got these stats sent to me from my right arm, Cody, who works so closely with me. He's just awesome. And he pulled these stats and it was interesting to see. I won't even reference them. I just know what they are. From last year, the same month in Durham region, we actually listed less homes this month, or pardon me, more homes this month, but did more sales as well. But the ratio was better. In other words, we had more sales this past month than the previous year. Interesting. Now, again, remember what I said to you, a lot of what just happened with the sales that we've had and the showings, and I noticed that they're starting to slow, were work that real estate salespeople, homeowners, and sellers were putting in, you know, for the last 60 days. So I get that. I get that. The real truth to how we're going to maintain numbers here, I believe will play out in the next 30 to 60 days, 90 days, without question. But I will say this, look, it was just a couple of weeks ago that we'd have multiple offers on a listing and it'd be 10, 12, 15 offers. And I know it's no different for most people that are on this call, especially in the GTA. If half of our industry, if half of our realtors froze, which I believe has probably happened, 54,000, let's just cut that in half. So 27,000 real estate agents stay at home. And the other 27,000 are still working. And let's say even half of them lose half the clients because now we're down to a quarter because those are the ones who must buy and sell. So we're still going to be in multiple offers. Instead of 15, we're getting what? 4? 3? We're still in multiples. I don't know, is it the best time to sell or buy a home? I don't know if we're going to come out of this and stock markets are going to climb again. They're showing weird signs right now. I don't know if we're going to come out of this and people are going to jump on the buy wagon because interest rates are so low and rent is probably going to skyrocket. It'll probably still be cheaper to own a house, especially with rates as low as they are. I don't know. But if I had a crystal ball, I would definitely rub it until it told me what I wanted to hear. I'm not in control of what's going to happen. I'm in control of today, and I'm in control of knowing that if I communicate and talk to a lot of people and just talk to them right now, build those relationships, you will win. You will have a business long-term because people still need to buy and sell real estate. But Pat, I can't give you an answer. Are we going to crash? Are we going to be okay? I will say this. Look, what happens if our industry did drop? Let's be extreme for a minute. In my opinion, 20% would be extreme. Would you agree? Okay. Let's just say we dropped 20 points on a home that was, I don't know, $800,000, right? So we got what? Almost a couple hundred, $150,000, 160 grand, the house comes down. Do you think people will lose their homes over 20%?
No.
Do you think people will walk away because they can't afford the carrying costs? I don't, because rates are still so low. I don't think so. I think the bigger concern right now, watching everything that's going on, would be how many businesses are going to get the support they need to make sure they're still open when we get through this thing in another 6 or 8 weeks. That, to me, has more of a factor than anything. I think your unemployment rate probably will get out of whack for a while, and then we'll get back to it because people want to go out and spend money. People want to get back to the normal, if you will. So I don't know. There's a lot of variable indicators, and you and I could talk about that back and forth for probably 2 hours, brother, and still get nowhere. But I do know what I know, and I've already shared that with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Because we are running out of time, because we have only 30 minutes, I don't know, Jerry, Jerry, how much we have left? Jerry?
Yes, we have about close to 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay. In general, what do you suggest? I know you mentioned so many points for realtors, but at the end, give advice to buyers, sellers, and realtors what should do at this time.
Well, I think, again, essential service to me, as I've defined it, as I believe, as Aria, Trev tried very, very well, the best they could to describe what it means. And they've been specific more so with some things than others. I believe as an essential service, one of the things that we're doing anyway is asking people, why are you buying or selling right now? What's your motivation? What's the reason? We had a call last week from a gentleman just north of here, and he said, well, I just want to sell and get a waterfront property. It's time. And it's almost like, you almost want to say, well, are you aware of what's going on in the world right now? It's just kind of a weird call. And, we talked a little bit more, and he said, yeah, it doesn't have to be now. It could be in 6 months. Doesn't matter. We're just going to start the process. So what we're doing is we're encouraging people to understand that normally I wouldn't set anybody up on anything with regards to, buyer listings or emails unless we met them first and made sure we had a relationship, signed a buyer agency. But hey, right now we're just talking to people, doing those FaceTime calls and shooting them all the information we can, build those relationships and listen to them. I would say to buyers and sellers, if you don't have to buy and sell right now, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think our spring market's being delayed. I really don't believe we're going to see a massive, massive drop. And I don't want to be held accountable for that either, because I don't know. The truth is I don't know. Just based on interest rates as low as they are, based on supply and demand still being out of whack, I could take a lot of things off the table. The amount of population that are in demand for homes, I could raise interest rates. I still think we'd be okay in solves, but I don't see any of that happening. I still see, if anything, I think rent's going to go up once we come through this thing. I just don't see it being a problem as much as we're maybe speculating. One of the big things I don't love doing right now either is actually speculating, because if I can't be in control of something and I'm speculating based on what might happen, what if I make the wrong move? Like that's pretty serious. You got to be careful right now. I think the biggest thing that we can be in control of right now is listening to people, building relationships, letting them know we care about them and we're here. That's it. Don't sell anything. I believe strongly in being a consultant, not a salesperson. Right now is the time to practice not being a salesperson. That's my strong belief right now. And I do believe in my heart, sales are a natural byproduct of doing the right things. The best right thing you can do right now is just care for people.
Thank you so much. Jerry, do we have any question from the audience?
Yeah. Yes, there is a couple of, I think 2 questions from the audience.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the question is from Julie. She wants to know what other tools and procedures is Mr. Plowman employing with his team during this time?
So specific tools to our industry and our day-to-day.
Yes, in this situation.
Sure. I think the biggest tool right now is getting your contact relationship management system database organized. Get organized right now. Be clear on what you're saying to people before you set a face-to-face call. Don't be careful not to go down the script or the language of a salesperson, and just listen to people, talk to them. If you can get organized and do that with a whole heart, look, give yourself a challenge, 5 people a day. Can you see 5 people a day and talk to them with a caring, thoughtful voice? And that's all you need to do right now. Listen, if the odd person needs to make a move right now, and I mean needs to make a move right now, sure, we believe very strongly in FaceTime calls so that people can just walk around the house and show you their home with their cell phone. And you leverage technology as much as you can so that maybe if you do have to meet them, it's quick. It's just, here's your listing agreement, your piece, and I'm out of here. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff remotely right now. I would encourage you to make sure you're really clear on the marketing that you're able to spend people's money on and have a strong listing presentation right now so that they understand you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I would say to you that if you're worried about meeting people right now and they must sell their home, go see the home, walk around the perimeter while they're showing you the inside. You can do that right from wherever today. We're also leveraging the technology and stagers that are doing those calls with their phones as well remotely, and they're using everybody's stuff in their home to declutter and put in the garage and using their own props, so they're not bringing other people's furniture or their furniture to people's homes. People don't want that right now. So they're leveraging what's in the home to make it best. And this is just prudent. This is smart right now. And this is what we must do. This is the new usual, the usual. So I think that if you can take someone who wants to list their home and explain to them, look, it might be the best thing for you right now for me to do a very strong coming soon. I'm going to send you that 28-day plan, get your home ready as well. We're going to do it coming soon for 6 weeks. Gives you lots of time to get the home ready. I'm going to shoot you that list that I mentioned. I'll shoot everybody if you send me your info at devplowmancoaching.com. But you can give them that. You can get through that 6 weeks. We'll have a better snapshot or view of what's going on. And then take a 6-month listing from there. So I would encourage you, if you have people that are interested, if you do want to move, sure, get as many people as you can, under agreement with you right now and build those relationships. But be careful what you're saying to people. It's wrong to commit to things we don't know, because people will ask you questions like, should I sell right now? Is the market going to drop? Is it going to die? I don't know. What's your motivation for moving right now? And I would encourage people to understand, most people that are selling or buying, most people that have homes aren't dumping out of the market right now. And if they're thinking about that or talking about that, what's the reason? Do they have to right now? I had a gentleman call us just a few days ago, and his wife's now been put into a retirement home, and she's not well. And they found a spot for him right beside her. Really interesting. And he said, Dan, I have to sell the home. I need the money to pay for this. And now, to me, that's a need. So yeah, we're going to list that home. We're going to get that home sold without question. But there are some people, again, that need to sell, and some people that just don't know if they should. And just be careful that you don't commit to A, price, or B, market conditions 3 months, 6 months from now, because we don't know. But we do know most people that are buying and selling, or selling and buying, look, just set them at ease. It's relative. If the market drops 5 or 10 points, I don't know, or goes up 2 points, it's all relative. The home you're selling is going to do the same as the home you're buying. Your real estate dreams aren't going to end. The future is brighter than what we're feeling right now. I can promise you that. And this is the kind of language, as we get through this, what are your plans? And encourage people to know, yeah, if you're serious about listing your home, we'll get that done for you. And I encourage.
Hi, Dan, and Pat, we have to wrap up because we have less than 40 seconds left. So I'd like to wrap up, please.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Hopefully we're gonna have in future more talks and pick your brain and to help realtors, buyers, sellers. And thank you everybody who joined us today. Thank you, Jerry, for helping us to arrange this Zoom meeting. Hopefully we're gonna see each other again.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I just want to make sure that if you have any questions, please go to the website United Realty, urock365.com, and register your questions over there, and we will get those questions to Mr.